OG SaaSpreneur there. Cool. It looks like people are still pouring in, so let's hang out for a couple of more minutes. Um, the other thing I'd love to kick us off with is in the Q&A button, hit that button, or maybe we should do it in the chat. What's your favorite thing about High Level? Your favorite feature? Because I know that these AMAs get very nitty-gritty about people's individual wants, and it can turn into like it feels like, oh my gosh, everybody's just complaining about the thing that they don't have yet. I also want to know what you love. All right, AI. Nice. That's good, Anthony, because we're just getting started. White label, more AI.
The
That's
dev
a,
team. Shout out dev team.
that's another great question too that I'd love to know. How many people have sold voice AI yet? The Dutch Texan, my favorite handle. I don't know why I get such a kick out of that.
Me too.
He's prolific.
Just think of the Dutch accent with like two guns in his holster and a big hat. Okay, awesome. We are still climbing, but I think we could probably get started in just a minute here. My favorite feature would be automated tax for outside the US. Wow.
Hey, I'll remember you said that. So when we deliver it, you won't say, now I need this one.
I just sold voice AI to a couple of clients. Fantastic, Javier. That's great. I'm super pumped up on the voice AI, and I'm really excited for a special announcement that you'll see coming as we get closer to summer. That's all I'll say for now.
Mm.
Um, Surprisingly, my 65-year-old clients are the most excited about voice AI. Wow, interesting. Jonathan, what do they do? What's their industry? Love to know more. See a lot of people loving the fact that you can white label, high level, resell it, all that. Legal and contractors. Interesting. That's great. It's almost summer in Texas. Spill the beans. Sit tight. It's going to be a fun summer. That's all I'll say. Automated tax in Canada. A lot of people excited about automated tax. Marla sold voice AI last Friday. Fantastic. How did it go, Marla? Was it an easy sale? Here we go. Here's the V and the R. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
We are just about to kick off. Everybody's just letting us know from where they joined their favorite high level feature and have they sold a voice AI yet. So it's pretty cool to see, folks. Somebody just said that their 65-year-old clients, surprisingly, are the most excited about voice AI, which is awesome. Okay, cool. Now that we have the full SVR here, why don't we go ahead and get started? I've got, thank you to everybody who submitted a question via the form ahead of time. I sort of consolidated that list. There was a bunch of questions that were similar, so I merged a few of them. And then I grabbed some others that I thought were pretty good ones. I think the biggest thing on the last town hall that people missed about the olden days was more of the high level stuff. So the first question that I picked is along those lines, which is Sean, Varun, and Robin, what is your long-term vision for the future of High Level? Will it remain fundamentally a marketing and sales platform, or do you aspire to expand High Level to allow businesses to run all its most critical processes on the platform, such as project management, full-featured e-com, support services like Zendesk, and even manage events like Eventbrite?
I think we aspire to do what we've always done, which is listen to our customers. So I love the idea of continuing to do more for people as long as we're doing a good job. So, I totally see a world where we have Zendesk and Eventbrite and I'm sorry, what was the other thing, Chase?
Like
Probably
project
stuff like
management.
ClickUp,
Oh,
project
oh yeah,
management.
sure. Yeah, yeah. And I think we are
Yeah.
kind of moving in that direction a little bit, but I would say it isn't because we aspire to do it. It's because we feel inspired to do it. And I think we feel inspired by the votes and the people that we talk to and all of our customers who tell us they want it. So yes, I definitely think we will continue to expand on that functionality. But again, always know that it's less about our aspirations and more about what you ask us to do. Because we still fundamentally, we've never changed that, and we never will change the fact that we really move in lockstep with what you ask us to do and how you ask us to do it and the order you ask us to do it. We haven't changed that since day one, so still doing it.
Yeah, and I'll also just add on, the importance of, you all, customers and everybody joining in on our daily town halls that we do with the product managers, because that's actually how we get our feedback, not only from our ideas board, but through conversation and how you're using the app, what businesses you're serving, and where you're going with it. That helps us lead into what we need to build versus integrating. So those conversations are super valuable. So make sure to join those, because that's where we start pulling together all the information that we need to make those decisions.
And I mean, the final thing to add there is the way work is being done is changing all the time. So the tools we're talking about are project management, ticketing. A lot of this can happen real time. Is instead of create a task for someone to go do the job, you can probably build an AI agent that does the job. Instead of creating a ticket, maybe you can have a bot that responds to that question right away. And we will still listen to you in terms of what we build, but I think all of you should be questioning how that work gets done and not just expect the same tools and the same kind of processes to deliver in the future. So the way work is getting done is changing.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to move up a question that came from Matt that's along these lines is, are there any updates on integrating with hard phones? Or let's talk about hardware in
Oh,
general.
for God's sakes, I can't wait. So
Surprise.
no,
Yeah.
what I know, and hopefully Varun can correct me if I'm wrong, but
It is on the roadmap. It's on the roadmap for this quarter.
yeah, so we're but to be fair, hold on. Careful what you just said covers a lot of things. So I said, look, I've been begging for this forever. So I said, let's just start with something basic. So we're going to open up SIP trunks and SIP
No, no,
trunks.
not SIP trunks, SIP endpoints.
Endpoints. Sorry, my bad. Good call. So SIP endpoints. And the idea here is really simple. For the nerdy amongst us, like myself, SIP endpoints are basically the way in which hard phones connect to voice over IP services. And the idea here is we start in the most basic of formats, so that way all of you can go out and pick like which phones and this and that. And hopefully you prove me right, which is there's a huge demand for this. And once we put this out, you guys will make it happen. And once we do that, then I will say, aha, see, I told you so. And then we'll have to go back and do more of it, and we'll make it even easier and simpler and so forth and so on. But this quarter, I've been promised SIP endpoints, which will help us kick off the hard phone revolution.
That's exciting. I mean,
agreed.
Yeah, I have no idea what SIP
I can't wait to say I
but...
told you so. I never get to say I told you so. I'm always wrong. So, you got to give me a win here, people.
All right, let's continue talking about phone stuff. So Tony posted something about A2P. It feels like the goalposts keep moving. I know a lot of this is from HighLevel's fault, but where are we at with this, and where's it all going?
Yeah. So, okay. So there's a couple. Okay. So let's just look at the big picture here. So the big picture is, do we all still keep getting, so we were told A2P was going to change the world and stop us from all getting spam texts, but do any of us still get spam texts? Yes, I do.
Oh yeah.
And so what does that tell you? It tells you that, and this will probably come as a surprise to all of you, the large carriers didn't actually get this figured out right. And so what they are totally moving the goalposts, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to continue to solve for the problem. And to be fair to them, the alpha product almost never works. But on our side, here's what we're trying to do. What we've realized is all the carriers care about more than anything else is that we are not the originator of texts that say things like, click here to pay your EasyPass bill, or click here to update your credit card for your past due invoice, your lost FedEx package, or your MacBook Pro you didn't order, right? We can't be those people. And those are what are referred to as SEV zeros. SEV zeros are basically like fraud and just out and out horrible spam, right? We cannot be the originator of those. And if we are, the carriers will shut us down like forever. You're never coming back. We're not going to hear from you again. And, up to this point, there was a lot of back and forth on this, like, well, maybe we check the website and maybe we see if they have a Gmail address, and we do this and we do this and we do this. And we've just recently released this persona thing. And I think some of you have seen this, where basically it's out and out. It's sort of like, coming back into the US, I experienced this where, they take your picture, they look at your ID, they cross compare it. They're trying to make sure you're really who they say you are. And it's pretty serious technology. And I never thought we'd have to do this for texting, but because texting is now used out and out for fraud, we've come to that level. But the good news is it seems like it's actually very successful. Now, we haven't talked about it a lot because we really want to make sure before we do that it's working. But what we're doing now with Twilio is pushing back on them and saying, instead of dealing with do they have a website? And how old is the domain? And are they using a Gmail address? And are they a sole prop? And all this other stuff. The question is, what really matters is they want to know that these people are not fraudsters. And we think that, at least I think, the early news is on personas that it's doing a really good job of this. So my mission long term is, how do we simplify this? And maybe we can go back not only to Twilio, but potentially the carriers and make a deal and say, look, we're a really good actor. We have this really stringent KYC process. And KYC, by the way, is short for Know Your Customer. And so we think we can actually, in the long term, actually roll back some of these restrictions if we can prove to Twilio and the carriers that we are not bringing spammers in. And on our side, the other thing to remember is, if any of you have been around for a long time, you've seen posts in the group where someone's like, oh my God, I just got charged $10,000 because someone signed up on my SaaS and they blew a bunch of text messages out from some random list and they're, and now I have to pay for all of this. Well, we take that super seriously. And so this is about protecting you from all of this stuff. So on the A2P side, that's probably more than the question was asking, but that is the kind of full run on where A2P stands today and why you're seeing a lot of this stuff. It's really about getting rid of the bad actors in a way that we can allow to keep the good actors and hopefully make the stupid process easier, altogether.
And I mean, while we work with the carriers in Twilio on that, the reason that a lot of campaigns are getting rejected today is because they're all the same, is what we're hearing is it's the same website, just copies of the same website. It doesn't really talk much about the business. The website seems generic and vague. And today they're reading into all of these type of signs. And if you're creating a website that is in a snapshot and it's fairly generic and you're just cloning it over and over into multiple accounts, those are likely things that are causing the rejections today. But again, like Sean said, we're trying to move away from that world into something more. So,
Yeah, and I think it's just a moment in time, right? Like we're kind of hitting this battle where the carriers are looking at us, and all the customers with scrutiny. Once we overcome this, I think the next iteration will be ways that will improve the flow for you and your customers. Because one of the things that we see is that you as an agency is helping your customers, doing it on their behalf. And we'll look at improving the flow so that your customers can go in very easily, or you can go in on their behalf. But we want to make sure that we're submitting the right info for the right customers so that they're getting the right outcome that they want.
So a good question here from Dave. Essentially, he's asking, hey, the service that we're using to do that new flow, is there some place people can go to research that, like to get the details of their data storage policies and all that kind of stuff?
Done in the chat. I also sent it to legal. We'll update our docs.
Awesome. Great.
And they are GDPR compliant.
Perfect. There we go. Great. Let's talk about internationalization. There were lots of questions that came in relating to internationalization in different ways. Some people, hey, Twilio doesn't have numbers in my area.
Can we talk about the taxes first, since everyone and their mother just put taxes in the thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Vern, do you know the answer before I say what I think the answer is?
no, go for it. I have no idea.
Well, okay. So apparently taxes are important. I mean, I live in Oregon. We don't have sales tax, so I don't know. I try not to pay taxes. I'm like Wesley Snipes. Hopefully I don't end up where he ended up, though. Always bet on black. That's what I say. Anyhow, but no, taxes are important. So I asked Prashant about this because he's running this down. He claims, and this is why I didn't want to say this because I thought Varun might know better. He claims it'll be out within this month. And the idea here is, I think we do this in the US today. Is that true, Varun? We do this in the US today, automatic taxes somehow or something?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So we now are going to do it internationally. We're working with Avalar to do it. They're a big tax company. And he claims that we're going to have this out sometime this month. So all that to say, one thing I will say is we do really care about it. We do take it seriously. So for all of you who have been asking about it, don't think that we ignore it or we don't think it's important. We definitely do. It's sadly complex. There's a lot of taxing authorities, believe it or not. And so we want to make sure we do a good job of it and we do it right. So that's really what we've been working on. But in general, as I understand it, we should have this out very, very soon.
Wow, you just made a lot of people's day. Everybody's pumped up on that one. That's fantastic. How about other international integrations? Like I saw some people asking for like Hotmart payment integrations that are huge in Latin America. Are there any other sort of stuff like that we're looking at around the world?
I mean, RDN is something that the team is working on. We heard that for a lot of Europe, Dubai, lots of places, RDN actually works much better than Stripe. So we'll get that done this quarter. And through the marketplace, we are working with tons of other payment providers to bring them on board as well. So we'll build Andean ourselves and we'll bring in more people through the marketplace.
Yeah.
Nice. We also did RazorPay recently. Hopefully everybody knows.
Well, and actually, I just at a higher level, our payment strategy, so I hope everybody understands this. We are the only SaaS company or company at all that I've ever heard of that allows a third-party payment provider without, they don't have to call me, they don't have to call Varun, they don't have to get any special permission. They can literally integrate their payments and get first-class billing in our app. I don't know anybody who did that. And by the way, that wasn't an overnight thing. Varun and team had to put a truckload of work into making that happen. And by the way, we don't charge anything for it. We don't make any money off of it. It's just part of the API. And we did this for a very good reason. We are trying to be agnostic on payments. We are trying not to take positions. Now, Stripe is easy for us. We have Stripe. Lots of people use Stripe, yada, yada. Now, despite that, we also understand that not everybody's an engineer, not every payment company is going to integrate with us, etc. So what we are trying to do is provide a big, well-known, first-class provider in every geographic area as at least a boilerplate starting. So like Adyen is a good example. But then for everybody who says, no, but I've had this great relationship for 20 years with Triangle Pay or Upside Down Pay or Inside Out Pay, we want to give a path to them. And without having to call us and try to wine and dine us and tell us they're going to give us better rates and this and that, and we can make a buck off the payments. We're not doing any of that. We're just saying, look, here's an open API. If you want access to our customer base, go for it. Oh, and by the way, if you do the work of it, we'll also give you a bunch of free promotion. We'll put you in our Facebook group. We'll give you an interview with Chase. We'll send you out in our email to our email list, our YouTube channel. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for payments, but we also respect the fact that payments are important. And so even if somebody from that jurisdiction or country geography does not integrate, we will try to have a first-class payment provider of choice that we ourselves do. And RazorPay is a good example of this. In India, we would argue RazorPay is a really great option. And so we have that. And we'll do the same thing, I think, in South America, Europe, etc. And Adyen's a really good example of that as well.
Nice. And if you haven't checked out the marketplace, go give it a peruse. I mean, there's already hundreds, maybe thousands of apps that are in there. A bunch of them are payment apps, things to do like ACH type of stuff. So if you haven't checked it out, you might have what you need already in there. But continuing with international, let's talk WhatsApp. If you are international, have you been using WhatsApp? We personally just started using it as we do events this year. We've been in Dubai, we were at an event in Vietnam, and adding the WhatsApps to our reminder flows immediately changed the game, right? Like we were at this huge event and we were doing our raffle, and the first raffle, we only had like 20 people show up. We added the WhatsApp reminders and then boom, there was like hundreds of people at our booth. So hopefully you're taking advantage of that. Somebody asked a specific question. I don't know, Varun, if you know the answer, but WhatsApp groups. Are we going to build in WhatsApp groups with our integration at some point?
Let me check and see if Meta mentioned something about this on their roadmap. Since we're using the official API, that's what our boundaries are. But the minute Meta makes anything available to us, like a lot of stuff like cohabitation isn't even available to all of the partners, but we jumped on it early. So the minute it's available to us, we push it out. But let me see if they've talked about this in their roadmap.
Yeah, and I will say, we do have a deep relationship with Meta, and the more users that we get, the easier that it is for us to get early access to things. They take us more seriously. So try to get your customers on it as fast as possible.
Absolutely. And I mean, we should probably point out a public service announcement along with the coexistence news. It's out in limited markets now. Hopefully they roll it out. We don't know when, but hopefully by the end of like Q2, that would be awesome to the other countries. But they are going to start cracking down on people that are not using the official Meta app. And I feel like, Sean, you've talked about this before. It's pretty hard to get official access to the Meta WhatsApp API, correct? I think there are only like a handful of companies that in the world have that access, us being one of them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, and what I will say is, I mean, we fought hard for 5 years to get access. Now, to be fair, that's after they bought it and all this, but we were the first actual customer to use the new actual Meta version of the API, which before there were grandfathered people in on the WhatsApp version. But I will say that across the board, anybody, I think in general, just imagine that most companies, like if you're Meta, you want people using your APIs, and people who have been not using your APIs, you're looking to find a way to force them out of business. We don't know when and if that'll happen or how that'll happen, but just realize that's a risk. And I think the same thing will go for things like Apple and anybody who you feel like if there's a workaround happening, eventually those people will be forced to probably either go through the official API or drop support for it. So just heads up there. But on our side, again, we're not in the business of picking the winners or losers or caring about any of that stuff. We just keep our head down and we're working with Meta so that we know because I just want to be able to promise all of you that the way we're doing it isn't going to change tomorrow or get shut down tomorrow. So that way you can build a business and depend on it.
Cool. If you're using WhatsApp and you're loving it like we've been, let us know. And again, the more people that we adopt, the faster all that stuff unrolls out. I see a cool question here about blogs. So we just had a call around blogs yesterday, so I feel like it's a fresh topic, and I feel like Sean has some exciting insights, or actually all of SVR could share based on that call of where do we see blogs going?
I mean, you were on that call, Chase. Where do you see blogs going?
Yeah.
They're going to, I mean, ultimately, blogs are, every product we have is fully resourced and being worked on full tilt. Blogs, as I understand it, there's some small catch-up work there that's left to make them as good as everything else, but they're pretty darn close. And I think that most of that happens this quarter. But what did I miss? I forgot.
Let me tee this up a little better. My
Yeah,
mindset around blogs is just the features. How do we make the features better and better and better? But yesterday's call, I feel like Sean came in with a bigger picture idea, which is, hey, people actually want to make money.
Oh, yeah, right.
that
Making
they
money.
create.
Thank you, Chase. Yeah, if you don't know me by now, I can't remember what I ate for breakfast, even though I'm eating it now. So then certainly don't remember what happened yesterday. But yeah, so ultimately, we want to make it easier for people to monetize off their blogs and off their email lists. So we're looking. So we got a couple of things here. One is we're looking into the medium term, putting out an ads network so that if you want to have sponsors in your emails automatically or in your blogs, you'll be able to do that. And then the other big piece of this is and this will get released first, is the ability to also then automatically sell into the additional content. So think about it like a Medium where you get your first 3 articles for free, and then if you want, you can ask people to subscribe, and you can actually monetize your blog. So that actually will come out this quarter. And so the idea here is you'll be able to do that. Now, one question I think is really interesting is there a builder plan for blogs? What in the world does that mean? I swear there is a builder for blogs.
We have a builder confirmed. It's getting better.
Okay, because we have one now, right?
Feature-wise, blogs are leveling up fast. A lot of that you can thank Ryan for, because Ryan is rebuilding our blog, and so a lot of his feedback is going directly to the team, which has sped up some of those quick fix stuff. But yeah, if you haven't played with blogs, test them out. They're actually really great where they are, and they're going to be really awesome in the very near future.
I think the news on, and I would say I give Varun full faith and credit in our organization for doing this, but he keeps asking the question, how are things going to change in the future? And the thing about blogs that I think of is, how is AI going to play a role? And I think many of you probably already write blog articles with AI. Or at least start them or whatever. And so that is something we're definitely paying attention to, but also the monetization aspects of it. I think there's a couple of companies who are doing a good job making blogs and email lists more monetizable out of the gate, essentially. And so we're going to be adopting those features as well, so that it's yet another revenue stream for those of you who feel like you have an audience that could otherwise be, who wouldn't mind a banner ad or some kind of ad, or the other reverse, which is, you're willing to give a certain amount of content away for free, but you have really valuable content that you want to monetize directly yourself. We're going to give you both options for that.
And that's probably a good opportunity to pitch. So hopefully you've seen the new SEO integration that we rolled out.
I'm going to stop you. Melissa, for gosh sakes, a newsletter and an email campaign are effectively the same thing. So yes, but if anybody wants to actually tell me what the heck a newsletter is relative to an email that has a list of articles in it, please do, because I don't get it. I'm okay to be. I often miss the boat on many things. I famously recall someone showing me the iPhone 1, and I said, "This is never going to catch on. This is too small. No one's ever going to consume content on it." So yeah,
I think what she's referring to is more of like the Medium Substack kind of situation, where those are like newsletters, but they're like hosted things. So
yes, that is exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So that's what you're talking about. Absolutely. And if you want more information, talk to Pooja, but that's exactly where we're pushing.
So one quick
See,
point
and
that I was
okay,
going to
so
make.
there you go. See, that's thank you, Dutch Texan. I'll defend myself since he defended me. Had it stayed that way, I would have been correct. Just for the record, I don't think I'm historically wrong. If I hand you all back an iPhone 1, even if I hand you an iPhone 1 with updated hardware specs, but the dang screen's still the same size, I'm telling you, I still win. But so that's fair. I'll take that. Thank you for the defense.
Okay, so real quick, I want to get this point in. When it comes to writing content with AI, I just figured this out. So with our new Search Atlas integration, they have like an AI writer thing, which is amazing. And you actually get it when you get our integration. When you click into like the more tools, you get access to that content creator, and AI will literally help guide what you're writing. It'll go out and look at what's already
Everybody
ranking.
know about the Search Atlas thing and the SEO thing? Do you want to give like a quick primer on that?
Hopefully, because it's a smoking deal and it's a really killer
Anyone
set
on
of
this
tools.
call in the chat, feel free to put not know what the heck it is that we're talking about when we say Search Atlas.
So
See?
that So let me to finish the point, that builder, the team is building that into our builder. So you won't have to like leave to go use AI to help you write that content. It'll be right in the blog builder and the website builder as well. So really looking forward to that. When can we use the new SEO tool with WordPress? Oh, good question. I don't know about that one.
That's Picard. Oh, and by the way, anybody on this call who asks a question and feels like they're not getting a good answer or we're not covering it, do feel free. Here's a link to the product town halls. Please go to the product town halls.
Yeah.
People still ask me questions every day like I know what I'm talking about. I actually know less what I'm talking about today than ever. I know that's surprising because it was a very low bar to start with. But just given the depth of the product, there are just much wiser, smarter people. And the product town halls are live Zoom calls just like this. And the team cannot wait to talk to you. They want to hear from you. They want to show you what they're doing. They want you to give them feedback. Like they're just dying for it. So please, please, please take that opportunity. They are they're open. And then also if you have just specific questions, they own those products. They're living them every day. They will know exactly what the answer is.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we're actually doing an event with Monik, who's the CEO of Search Atlas. I'm dropping the link in the chat here so you can join that. It's coming right around the corner. You can learn more about how it works.
Yes, there's lots of not clarity here.
To answer one question, I'm still not sure which level of Search Atlas we're getting. It's like a custom plan. So for example, you get more auto sites than you do in the regular base Search Atlas plan. So it's not like a one-to-one comparison, but it's a great deal, Tom. So if you haven't checked it out, give it a whirl. Let's move on to calendars. So calendars, being a non-dev, has always been this thing of like, wow, that seems really complicated, and I think that's true. And in the early years, it was like, we got a lot of work to do just on regular calendars. We've come so far, but I saw a bunch of questions like, will you guys keep going with calendars into things like vacation rentals with like check-in, check-out dates, that type of stuff? Where are we heading with calendars?
Yes.
So this quarter, I think we should have the service calendars go live. This has been pending for some time, mostly on some payment integrations that were remaining. But for all the spa, salon types use cases, this calendar is perfect. And I've seen a demo of this. So this is the best calendar we've built so far. So I think this will be really well received. And this quarter, we're doing rentals actually. So that will actually go out. So we will keep going with this. So
Doing
booking
what? Vendors?
rentals.
Rentals. Ah, thank you.
So we'll keep going with this.
What's the
We know
tour
this is really where things start to get different. So most businesses are similar right up until the calendar booking, because you drive a lead to a funnel or a website, you capture the lead, the nurtures, the automation. A lot of that is similar. It's really the calendar where the different business models start to show up. So there's a lot of different variations to build, but we'll keep building all of them.
Okay.
What is the difference between a tour
rental?
booking?
What?
The tour booking, isn't that just a normal appointment?
Yeah.
Sort of
That's
a
what I was
mix of
wondering. Like,
calendars and
what's tour
ticketing.
booking, multiple day rentals versus rentals? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like a mix between booking and ticketing.
okay, wait,
I think-
in-person events. We do that now, right?
You can kind of, but I think with in-person events, there's a couple of cool approaches that we're running down. I mean, there's one with custom objects that me and Chase were talking about, where if we give you the ability to do a QR code on every object, where you get a field type called QR code on the custom objects. So then you can use custom objects to really be tickets, and you send out the ticket to each person when they get a QR code. When you scan the QR code on the app, it pops open that object. You can mark them checked in, attended, all of those type of things. So I think with custom objects, we'll unlock that before we do with the calendar. But yes, the goal is to make sure that it's native.
Got it. So with service calendar, we'll be able to do multiple, I mean, for the tour or the rental stuff, we'll do multiple days.
I'm not sure on that specific one, but this is where the calendar town hall.
Yeah, go to the calendar town hall, but it should, right? Because I
Yeah,
want to rent
I
that
can tell you
kayak
they're definitely received that feedback, and we're working on some stuff with
because
multiple.
I want to rent
day
my kayak for more than one day. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about that. And because we have the mobile app, to Dutch's question, we can do things like if a high-level mobile app scans a QR, it does something different than if just a regular anybody else scanned it, right? And so there's all sorts of cool stuff that we can do there that I think is really exciting. Let's loop back to AI. So lots of questions around AI. I saw some great ones here. One of them was, this is a question we get all the time. Can I plug in my own keys? Can I plug in my own GPTs? Will that ever be a thing?
No.
And why?
No, I think for the most part, I mean, can we make it possible? Sure. But if it's the price, and the instruction that I've been giving the team is, the model that you use is almost like con. It doesn't make sense for us to upcharge people on that. So we should really be charging people at cost. And I don't know, maybe that still hasn't happened. And if that's the case, let us know and we can make it happen. But outside of that, we feel like making you enter an API key just makes it much harder. So we want to have it work out of the box. So is the price the concern?
Yeah. And then while we're answering that, the reality is also you have to realize that when that question gets asked, it's as though the winner has been chosen, but the winner is far from chosen. The number of models that come out every day, the number of people who build on top of those models and create awesome things, like it just moves on I'm telling you, it's like a daily basis. This isn't like, oh yeah, this has been going on for 20 years. So if we did that, we would invariably find somebody else or some other model that did some other thing, and we would want to introduce that functionality, and very quickly someone would be like, wait, hey, hold on, why don't you support that for my ChatGPT key? And it's like, well, sorry, because ChatGPT doesn't do it, somebody else passed them by. Like it's not a wise idea to do pretty much.
And I think Anthony just said that sucks. And Anthony, if you can add more detail in on why that sucks, I mean, we're happy to
I
take
don't
the
get it.
feedback. Yep. And
Tell us
like we
why.
said, at the end of the day, if it makes sense for all of our customers and there's something that we're not seeing, we're happy to go fix it. The only reason we don't do the API key approach is we don't want to make it harder for most people, just to make sure that it's easy for the advanced people. But if there's like a real gap, like something we're not seeing, we're happy to go.
He says he likes to pick. That was his answer. He wants to pick the model.
Got
Hmm. I mean, that might be something in the future.
So if we just have a drop down that says pick your model.
Yeah.
We do today.
Yeah.
We do today.
Okay. The problem we have also is when we put stuff out, if we say this does a thing. So first of all, AI, to be fair, AI is kind of like an engine. It's not really a feature. Yeah, I get ChatGPT has a interface on it, but if you kind of look at how this is all working out, eventually you're going to have AI employees, and AI employees are going to do tasks. And no one's gonna, the end user, the end user is not going to be like, what model is this built off of? No one will even remember what a model is. So the problem is you're sort of, as the engines change and the parts change in the car, you're saying like, oh, I want to be able to choose that. But the problem is if we front it as a functionality, it's like this does this, like inbound voice AI does this thing. If you choose the model and let's say it doesn't do the thing, then you're still gonna open a ticket and say, why doesn't this do the thing? And the problem is it constrains us in our ability to actually give you the end result you're looking for, which is, oh, who cares what the model is? It just needs to do the job. And if it does the job, case closed, right?
So next question on AI, I like this one. AI agents that you can command with a voice command are becoming more and more popular. Do you plan on integrating this kind of thing into HighLevel? And if so, how do you envision it integrating with all the features like reporting, documentations, workflows, etc.?
Yeah. I mean, we have a co-pilot. It's not live to everyone, but you can turn it on for your account if you want to experience it. And that co-pilot will be multimodal and voice will be one of them. And we're working, all of the different teams are jumping in and integrating with the co-pilot. So over a period of time, more and more actions will be available through the co-pilot, and you will be able to access it through voice commands. And most of this will happen in the next month and a half. By the end of May, you should have a lot of options on the co-pilot and all of them will be live.
There's also some other cool stuff coming. Like I think the term for the one is like Orb, which I hadn't heard before, but these are sort of like sales tools where you can embed a voice agent into like a website so that you can interact with it without actually like having to pick up the phone and make a call. So there's lots of cool stuff that like that the team is working on as well that I'm excited for to help make it easier to go sell voice AI as your own products. Okay. Anything else you guys want to add on AI before we head into the next question?
I mean, I don't know, Varun, do you want me to? I kind of feel like you have a good vision here.
I mean, with AI, the thing that we're seeing is internally, we ourselves are trying to get as efficient as possible using AI. And externally, we're also seeing that most businesses want the same thing. So for us, the internal motto is use AI, sell AI. Like we need to be using as much AI as possible and we need to be selling as much AI as possible. And by selling, it means most businesses want to get efficient and want AI tools. So irrespective of the type of business, we're finding that the industry or niche does not matter as much. It's plumbers, electricians, real estate, whatever it is, they want AI answering their calls. They want AI making appointment bookings for them. They want AI powered chat widgets on the website that's answering FAQs and stuff. So across the board, what we're seeing is businesses want AI so they can get more efficient. And if you really play this out long term, a lot of businesses and business models that weren't even successful in the past because the cost model was broken will likely be successful in the future because AI just enables them to be able to do more with less. So, as far as what's exciting and what businesses want sold to them, it's AI.
Yeah, and I think the future is the fact that you're going to produce AI in the form of something that's like an AI employee for that business for a role in that business. And you're going to be in a position where it's like, oh, you're a tattoo parlor. I'm going to give you an AI tattoo parlor receptionist who's going to come out of the box and know a lot of the information around what it's like and the common questions people ask and what the common answer should be. And you'll tune them, you'll change them, you'll do stuff like that. But out of the box, you'll have a good turnkey starter kit. And then they'll be able to, and they'll be multimodal so that they'll be able to, like Chase said, you'll be able to talk to them on a website, you'll be able to call them on a phone, you'll be able to text back and forth with them on WhatsApp or SMS or RCS messaging or whatever. Like they'll exist on all the channels, but they're sort of, you'll sort of see them in the same sense as you almost would hire a person on, going out and putting a job posting out. Like I want to hire a receptionist that does the following things. That person will essentially achieve those same outcomes, except they'll be not a person, they'll be AI. And I think that is more the direction we see the world going. And so while we're not quite there yet today, that is kind of the direction we're headed.
It's awesome. I really feel like we're at this inflection point where it's like websites in the 90s. Every business is starting to realize that they want one of these things. And out of the box, it's really easy to sell, but you can make it super complex. Hopefully, everybody saw the update now. It can fire off like webhooks in the middle of the conversation. So these things, if you know what you're doing and you know how to build, these crazy functionalities, you can do that, or you can just go sell it out of the box to, the dentist down the street, and it's going to do an amazing job, probably much better than the receptionists. Okay, so let's head over to Michael's question. This is a question we get all the time, Michael. So I'm going to read it in full, and we'll hop into it. So it seems you guys are heading in an interesting crossroads between promoting to gain SaaS customers, to gain agency customers, to gain affiliates, and to gain direct customers. The more you gain affiliates and the more you gain end users, the more you seemingly hurt those doing SaaS white labels. Because how could we compete with you? It seems, though, you may have a preference to just serve the end user due to your actions in marketing and building up your affiliates. Is this true? And should those of us trying to hang on our treads of white label just give up on that? I don't want to be thieving to my customers anymore. It's getting more and more difficult to find end users that don't already know what HighLevel is and that you can get started on the $97 plan. Side note, we understand building value within the platform and for our clients, so please don't use that as a scapegoat to address this very real issue as your company continues to grow. Thanks for the thoughtful question, Michael. Again, we get this all the time, and I think Sean or who wants to kick it off?
I'll start and Robin can finish. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right. Yeah. So the funny thing is, we really haven't changed anything that I'm aware of since pretty much inception. Although we are going after affiliates, although we've always done that. So that also I would argue has not changed either. I still very much believe the same truth as always have, which is that it is technology continues to get more, these tools are just tools. We're in the tools business. So first and foremost, we make tools, hammers, saws, chisels, whatever. I do not believe that they are something that the average end business should be using. They should be used on behalf of the business. And I believe it is absolutely in the hands of SaaSpreneurs and agencies to make that happen for those businesses and to create those outcomes. Can and will some SMBs decide they can do it on their own? Sure. Go back to high level. Did some people say, I can do my own SEO, I can do my own website design, I can do all my own stuff? Sure, of course they did. And many of them tried, and most of them failed. But for every hour an SMB goes out and tries to become an expert at marketing and website design and AI and everything else, is one less hour they're spending being good at actually what it is that they do. And so that's their mistake, not yours, not ours. But on our side, we continue to do what we've always done, which is we make a platform, which, I mean, I don't know about you, but most people tell me is super complex and hard to understand and hard to get going on and all these things. And I'm okay with that because we're not trying to sell to people who are lay people or starter or SMBs. We're trying to sell to agencies and SaaSpreneurs who want to really learn the tools and then take them out and actually use them, hopefully, preferably white label, on behalf of their customers. And to anyone who would say, well, I lost a customer to high level. My first question is, why in the world would they do that? So it's one of two things, really. Either A, if you're just reselling high level as it stands without any additional value, that's not what you should be doing, right? That doesn't make any sense. But if you are going in and setting it up and running it for them and giving them a social media post automatically and email templates automatically, what in the world are they thinking? Why have they decided? And look, we face this too. I mean, we have people who say high level is not the best platform for them, and I think they're nuts. So you are going to have some nutty customers sometimes that make mistakes and do stupid things. But from our perspective, we have changed none of that. I've never changed my belief on that. If a plumber, somebody just asked me yesterday, what should I do to get going with high level? And I looked and I found they were an SMB, and I said, here, go to the directory, find an agency, like go find an expert to help you make this happen. Whatever you do, don't try to do it yourself. I've been saying that since day one, and I still say that today, and I don't think we've changed our stripes on that whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean 100%. And I know your last statement in the question was don't use the scapegoat of value. So I won't, but I do think that that is an important part of it. For high level from the business side of things, we are still doing the same marketing, the same type of initiatives, and the same type of approaches since day one. The only thing that's different is, our capacity and stuff has gotten a little bit louder. And so you're probably just seeing kind of the overlap and thinking that we've changed directions. We've hit all these same avatars from the very beginning. And we've always put a heavy emphasis and led with the agency side. That's where I come from. That's how we started the business. And that's where we've always looked at it in that lens. Now, in effect of helping the agencies, we always think about the SMBs, right? Like, how does an agency help that plumber? And what is the plumber thinking about? And we want to make sure that it's easy for the plumber so that it becomes an easier sale for you to come in as the agency or the SaaSpreneur to help provide that value. Remember that that plumber wants to be a plumber. They want to be out in the field trying to get more business. If you're getting them to come in and work on the app, they're no longer a plumber. And, for that track, we do have the kind of this other one for becoming a SaaSpreneur. And we've seen that quite a bit. But we've also seen many people who come in and want to become essentially marketing agencies with more of the software layer on it. And that's really the lane there. And that's what we've doubled down on. And, Chase mentioned we're doing a lot of events and we're really trying to promote that. But at the end of the day, it's still the same stance from the very beginning. We're here to support the implementers, the ones who are doing the hard work, and that's who we want to focus on, which is the agencies, the SaaSpreneurs, and things like that, who typically do that every single day.
And I'll end it with my analogy that I use all the time. When we had our agency, we were a WordPress shop. And as WordPress gained in popularity, we would have people come to us and be like, wait, you're going to build me a WordPress site. Isn't that free? Can't I go build my own? And we would say, absolutely. If you know how to build WordPress websites, go for it. But we're experts at it. If you need help, let us know. And I think that same thing is even more true with high level because it's not free. They have to go pay for it one way or another. So it makes total sense if they don't know what they're doing to pay for it through you. So I love the power by high level model. I think we're seeing more and more people do that. At the bottom of their agency site, they're putting power by high level. There's a million different ways to do it. But again, I got to replace some tiles on my deck. Could I go figure it out and buy grout and the tool? Yeah. But am I going to do that? No, I'm going to call a contractor because it doesn't make sense for me. So hopefully that helps. Again, we get it all the time. I think it's more of like a mental hang up than it is an actual real
Well,
world.
and here's the good news. I mean, I respect this question, what just note from our end, and I think it's hard sometimes to see the forest through the trees. I meet person after person everywhere I go with hundreds or thousands of accounts, and they never have this complaint. And it isn't because they don't lose customers, because we all lose customers, sadly. But it's because they create a model that ultimately the average customer gets a lot more value. And the way I sort of think about it is, you should have a situation where even if you said everything like, oh yeah, by the way, I use HighLevel, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. The person should be like, oh my God, that sounds like a heck of a lot of work. No thanks. I love that you told me all that. That's lovely and all, but here, please take my money, right? Like, and I do think this is a common model we see everywhere else. There are so like, I mean, you can go to Home Depot today and you can buy a Lennox AC unit and you can try to install it in your house next time yours breaks. I'm not going to try that. I think that's nuts. But some people do, by the way. But fundamentally, the reason I call the contractors because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to learn. I want to be good at what I do, and that's exactly the customers you work with. Now, if you work with customers who think they can do it all, guess what? Don't work with those people because they're crazy. They have no clue what they're doing, and they're going to
Or
make
share your affiliate link and make money off of it. We
Yeah, you could
couldn't
do
make
that.
money off of WordPress back in the day. We would just lose them until they figured out that it was too hard for them. So, I mean, I think it's an amazing opportunity either way you slice it.
Yeah, although interesting, that last point though, I do think is a good one. We should address it. We do actually make mistakes sometimes and push features we shouldn't or create visibility issues that we shouldn't. And there's a big and by the way, none of that is done. So just so you're aware, there's no cabal, there's no conspiracy here. Most of that is actually done by individual product managers or product teams who are just excited about their product. And you know, when you have a team this big, sometimes things slip out. Now, to be fair to all of you, though, that doesn't mean it's okay. What we've done is we've actually put a new process in place to double check all of this stuff so that these things don't slip out. And so Varun can talk about that if he wants more. But at the end of the day, we do take that seriously. And we
Yeah.
don't. Whenever we do that, we try to roll it back as fast as we can, and we do apologize for the mistakes that we do make when we
And
make
I
it.
mean, it is a tough balance, but I mean, we have put the new framework together. I think today the thing that we struggle with is what should go through that framework versus not, because the last change that we pushed out that got people frustrated was the sample data that people loaded into accounts. And the challenge there is we're seeing a lot of accounts with the sample data actually interact with them, get them, I mean, add them to workflows, use it to visualize things on the dashboard. And that actually makes the account more usable when they first show up. But we can see that tons of people hate it as well. The first action they take is to go in and clear the sample data out. And it's frustrating from that standpoint. And that didn't go through that framework because I think the team that released it thought, hey, the sample data and the accounts, so when a new account's created, it makes it easy to look at. I don't know that that needs to go through that framework. So we're still getting better at it, but the framework exists on what should show up at each level. We just haven't perfected which items go through that framework versus not.
And I think the other piece is the framework is ever evolving, right? Like all the different use cases that you all are doing, it's incredible to watch, but we're running into situations that we never thought the app was even intended to do or be capable of. So we always have to think of like, people who come in within certain X amount of days. Maybe they're an agency, but what's the view for an end user versus a sub account? Well, what happens when they have custom CSS and JavaScript? And like, there's so many different scenarios that we're walking into. Now we've added the marketplace component, and when you build stuff in there, it helps for 90% of it, and then you break something there. So it's something that we're constantly evolving and trying to make better. But yeah, as Sean said, it's something that we're not shy of. We're always trying to improve and make it better. It's just we're trying to move as fast as our customers are.
Yeah, there were several questions along this lines. Dan and others asked, can you give us a straightforward, cut and dry answer on where you stand and what's being done to prioritize agency control over feature rollouts? And I think that's the cut and dry answer. There is an internal framework. Yes, it's still being improved.
Yeah. And
But
just to
as
give
Varun
you a
mentioned,
rundown of what that framework looks like, right? So when any feature is released, the agency owner or the SaaSpreneur gets the feature a few weeks ahead of time, and they're able to decide few weeks ahead of time whether they want that feature to go live for all of their accounts or turn it off. And today, what we're struggling with is what goes through that framework versus not. But we're pretty close. I think any major feature that we launch, like a new product area, we're definitely going to put it through that. But things like the sample data change, we just didn't expect to have that consequence.
got it.
And there was one other item in the comments that I think is useful for us to run down on the, how do I compete with HighLevel because of the white label? There was a suggestion from nomadpreneurs, like why our map policy is the same as our minimum base price. And that actually might be something that we can play with. So we'll take that back to the team because it does make sense. Like if HighLevel costed more than the map pricing that we gave some of the white labelers, if pricing is the problem, that probably gives you the.
Although to be fair, today, if you remove one feature, you can charge whatever you want.
Yeah. And that is the minimum advertised price. So if you're not really running ads, you can make the sale in person for whatever you want. And there's no way for us to prevent you from doing it. This is just to make sure that people aren't advertising online and eating into each other's markets and cannibalizing the product.
Yeah, because
So as
it's
long
just a
as you're
race to
not
zero.
running ads, you can already do what you want with price.
Well, exactly. And to Marlo's point, that is exactly why we do it. We do not want to create a race to the bottom. And by the way, we've seen lots of foolish people try to sell HighLevel for $1 or a one-time deal and this and that. And let me tell you, it doesn't work in the end. And then they get all mad. And then some of them get mad at us for some reason. And so that's why we have these policies, right? We're trying to protect people from being nutty. But at the end of the day, there's a great deal of flexibility built into the current model. I actually don't think we need to change it one iota, because if you're offering less than the full package, you can already charge what you want. And to Varun's point, it's a minimum advertised price, not a minimum sales price. So if you get on a phone call with me and you want to discount it, you can. And it's not that we can't stop you. It's actually not against our policy.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just we tried to do our best to enforce it, but as people start selling it over the phone and things like that, we can't monitor it. However, the caveat that I'll say is when you do try to sell the full all-in-one package for less than $100, it 99% of the time is not viable as a business.
Well, I was going to
We've
say,
seen-
yeah, that is
yeah,
the bigger issue.
yeah.
So
We've
imagine
seen
you
that
have 1,000 people
over and over
calling.
again.
Yeah, imagine you. Sorry, Robin. I'm very passionate about this statement. Like, if you do really well here, and you have 1,000 people that you've sold it for $29, they're all going to call you and they're going to ask you for help. And if you don't have enough money to help them, they're not going to. You can go ahead and say, well, you only pay me $29 a month. Good luck with that. They're not going to take that nonsense. They're going to be rattled up and they're going to be upset and they're going to.
Sean, you learned that lesson personally, didn't you? Build a business that.
Yes, I did. Okay, so I built a business called InvoiceSherpa.com. You can go look it up. It was an add-on to QuickBooks and Xero, and it was very simple. You see, it just sent automated reminders to help businesses collect money on past due invoices. It's a very simple construct. And I remember standing in the booth for QuickBooks.
How much did it cost?
Well, I'm getting there. So it started at $19 a month. And I remember some influencer guy walking into the booth and saying, oh, $19, that sounds expensive. I think it should be $9. By the time I sold it, I think I may have bumped the minimum price to $49, but I'll tell you, I built a prison. I got it to the point where I had so many customers and such little revenue to support them. I couldn't code anymore. I couldn't hire anyone. I had customers in Australia. I had customers in the United States, East Coast, West Coast. I was up near 24/7. I never saw my family. It was a very, very, very bad day. And the only thing I can say about that was great is that somebody called and bought it from me. And it was the greatest day of my life. So, well, not the greatest day of my life, but it was a very good day. So ultimately, don't make my mistake. Charge enough that when you have 1,000 customers, 24/7, 365, you can provide them good support if you want to create a sustainable long-term business.
Yeah, and I saw someone saying that they have a foot in the door that's less than that, and it's working. I mean, I have yet to see it actually work, 100%. And is that really the customer that you want walking in the door that's coming in at such a low cost because you can't really expand on them? So we've seen it so many times where people are sending us emails, to our legal team and things to shut those accounts down, and we take those seriously. But on the other side of it, we have yet to see anyone being super successful by offering it at a low cost. Most of the time, they end up blowing up, and we get a whole bunch of their customers blowing up in the Facebook group or complaining that their agency got shut down. And so we're trying to avoid that as much as possible.
So the other piece of the question that a lot of people commented similarly on was, okay, can we get more control over things in our apps? More control over the themes, more control. I mean, I think you're getting way more control over system emails all over the place. But are we planning any other things along those lines as far as giving 297, 497 users more control over the app? I know theme
Right,
customization.
Specifically what you're talking about, Chase, but yes, I mean, the goal is to make sure that we give people more control over the app. everything from the launchpad experience, like what items, what items are important to your users. So today we curate the launchpad for you, but that was just the way we got started. We're going to allow you to curate the launchpad yourself and even put that into a snapshot. So when one of your users signs up, you're able to tell them where they need to pay attention. So our goal is to continue to improve, increase how much you can customize the app. And that's the only way we'll do it.
Okay, awesome. We are about to run out of time. I want to send us off on a fun note and try to see what our luck looks like today. But if you enjoyed this, definitely let us know. We'll probably send a feedback survey after this because, again, this is just sort of a test of do we like this AMA format here. But what we love to do at events is give stuff away, and we do it by spinning a wheel. We have so many names of people that have registered for
Whoa.
these.
That
This
is
is
a crazy
actually
wheel.
built
This
by
is
a team
insane.
member. I think somebody coded this up with AI. That's a custom wheel
That is
spinner.
so-
That is awesome.
So we do have a couple of rules. You have to chant spin to win to spin the wheel. Now, being as we're in chat, throw it into the
Shout,
chat.
spin that wheel. Hold on, let's be very careful about the chant.
Yeah. You have to type
Two,
it in all sequentially.
you must be present to win. Now, we have a ton of people. This is the list of people who are registered for the monthly town hall reminders. I think we'll spin a max.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, you have to be present to win. Okay, we get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll
What's the
spin a
giveaway?
max of
What's the
10
giveaway?
times.
What's the prize?
Hopefully we get a winner. The prize is going to be a $25 swag gift certificate to our swag store. So let's see.
Okay, spin that
I
wheel.
hit the wrong one.
Oh,
Where's
come
the
on,
spin
man.
button? There it is. All right, here we go.
false
Spin
surprise.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin that
wheel.
wheel.
All right, Jose, are you here? We need to see it in the chat.
Attendees wheel. Attendees list.
And if not,
3,
we go
2,
He's not.
1,
Go.
go.
boom. We're
Spin
spinning
that
that.
wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that wheel. Oh.
Celso.
No,
Your
move
name
next. Moving on. Not
3,
the attendee
2,
list.
1.
Spin that
wheel.
wheel. Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Not part about having 1,300 people. Good luck finding somebody. Oh,
Willie
no.
Evans, that's our third try. Is
Oh,
Willie
sorry.
Evans
Spin the
here?
wheel. Keep it going.
Now we gotta up the prize.
Car
All right,
wash
I
and
love it.
shop.
50
Wheel.
bucks.
Let's go
Spin
50
that
bucks. Let's
wheel.
go. Spin
50
that
bucks.
wheel. Spin
Spin
that
that
wheel.
That
wheel.
wheel.
Spin that wheel.
Spin that
Spin that
wheel.
wheel.
Joshua Maddox, that's our
No,
first.
there's no one named Joshua Maddox in the attendees list that I could see.
All right,
Come
I love
on,
that Sean's
man.
on it.
Spin that wheel. Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that
Oh,
wheel.
look at something we update for
Spin
next
that
time.
wheel.
We'll only put the people who attend. Joe.
Yeah.
No, next.
Yeah.
Spin that wheel.
Oh my
Spin
gosh,
that
here we
wheel.
go. Here's spin number 6. We got
Oh my
4
goodness,
more.
we can
We're
do it.
out.
We can do it. We can do it. Oh,
King
Pixel.
Pixel.
What the heck is
Pixel.
that, bro? Oh,
Come on, guys.
Spin that
Spin that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that wheel.
Spin that
Spin
wheel.
that
I
wheel.
don't like
Come
wasting
on.
EY.
All right,
Oh,
I'm gonna have to just pick someone random in the chat.
easy
All right.
Y. No, man.
All
You
right.
got a way to do that, Robin?
Yeah, if you want a prize, type there you go. Type I'm here. Let's see, and I'll just pick a random name.
There.
The flurry, there it goes. And the winner is Susie Gessinger.
Susie!
Yeah,
Congrats!
Susie!
You just got a
Random pick.
$50 swag
Random
buck.
Robin's wheel works really well.
Yeah, we
Yes,
got to
I
figure out how
spun
to
a
get the
wheel.
names of just the people here in the room next time, right? Susie, was it? Shoot an email to chase@gohighlevel.com so I can get you your gift certificate. Or DM me your email real quick before we jump. But thanks everybody for joining. We will see you again in Q3. And hopefully we'll see you in October
Thanks,
at our big
everybody.
summit.
And let us know what you think. We want to do a good job for you. So if we can do better, all ears.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
all.
Hey,
Bye.